Mutai, and myself, I'm a farmer here in Kibomet, in Kitale, and I've been working on doing mixed farming. I have several things that are growing at the farm. I have capsicums, I have kales, I have collards, I have a black shade, and there are several things that I'm planting at the farm. But most important of all is that despite everything that I'm doing, I've been working very close with Growpact Limited. And Growpact has really been influential in how I've actually admired farming, because over the years I started working with onions, and I tried Growpact once, and I did 500 pieces of onions. And for the first time, I recognized that all the seeds, and actually all the seedlings, they were able to germinate, and I was actually able to get a good harvest. So later on, I tried to do spinach. Later on, I tried to do cabbages, and I was really lucky enough because in all those things that I was trying, I was able to get market. In Kitale, there is sufficient market. You can't really say that you have to go too far away to get market. Personally, we have a school here we run. I have a restaurant that I'm running here, so I'm able to get ready market. That's number one. But number two, there's also challenges whereby there's times like where during COVID-19, I was working with Growpact, but I was buying seedlings, but the problem is I was not getting market. But I remember at one time I took my pickup and I traveled all the way to Lodwar just to take cabbages. So one thing I'm really happy about Growpact is that I'm able to get certified seedlings, and these seedlings, most of the times, it's 98 to 99% of the seedlings actually mature and they're actually able to produce. Right now I'm really happy because for instance, I have the commonly known as Managu and Osucha. What I've seen with the plants that I got from Growpact, I've been able to get more than 200% profit, because something that I bought of only 1,000 shillings, right now I think I'm exceeding 7,000 shillings in returns. So I'm seeing really a lot of returns, and actually the plants that I'm actually getting from Growpact are really agile and they are really strong, and I'm able to see them mature. As long as you just make sure you keep the regular regime of spraying, putting the fertilizers on time. It's not automatic, because all these things you still need to take your time and actually take care of the plants. If you find there's something, a disease that is coming up that you need to take care of, you need to take care of it as soon as possible. But all in all, I've worked really close with Growpact. They really advise me. Sometimes they call me in for seminars. They tell me of programs they have to train farmers on the best time to actually plant things and actually how to be able to take care of your plants all the time. So that's the best thing that I can say about Growpact. And actually I'm an excited farmer, and this thing I'm exceeding. I started with only a quarter of an acre. Right now I've gone to 1 acre, and just the other day I'm talking about increasing another half an acre to continue planting. Luckily enough, I was able to invest into drip irrigation, and it's really helped me during these periods of time when there's no rains, and we've been able to see the plants grow and actually mature well. And lastly, one thing I can say about Growpact and what I've been able to do so far is that I'm really passionate about chilies. So one of the things that I did is that I ordered chilies from Growpact, and I was able to plant them and grow them. And I was able to do value addition during the period of COVID, because things were growing but you couldn't take them to the market. So I started value addition, drying chilies, and I was able to grind them and actually package them and get them to the supermarkets during that period of time. So I'm really excited to continue working and doing value addition to what I have currently in the farm. A few years back, before I started working with Growpact, I was able to set up seed beds and actually buy seeds from any shop that you could get out there. But most of the time you could not actually get even 80% or even 70% of germination. And Growpact are actually experienced in how to take care of seeds and actually to propagate and actually to be able to do different kind of mechanisms to maintain those seedlings all through. So ever since I tried Growpact, I was able to see um, a good harvest is all I can say for the first time. Ever since I tried onions for the first time in Kitale, and I've never planted onions, but I saw onions actually germinate and actually get a good harvest from there. Cabbages, the same thing. I was able to get a good harvest from those seedlings, and especially Victoria, cabbages from Victoria variety, and I was able to get also Gloria, and I was able to manage to take them all the way to Lodwar, and I was able to get a good return based on what I planted from the seedlings. One of the things I can say is that if there's any farmer out there, don't waste your time buying seeds and putting them on your own seed beds and actually waiting for them to grow. You're wasting time, number one. And number two, it's not guaranteed with the conditions that we actually have at Growpact. We see everything that is being planted at Growpact, you get actually something that's germinated and something that is actually ready. So you are able to enjoy a bountiful harvest based on something that is factual, that you actually get from Growpact, and it's actually able to generate a good harvest for yourself. And any farmer out there, please try out Growpact. And I've seen so many people. I've actually influenced several neighbors here, and I've seen them buy things from Growpact, and I've seen them enjoy a good harvest from Growpact.
My name is Elton Awori. I am the founder of Rafael Foods Limited. It's an agribusiness company encompassing greenhouse farming, poultry, dairy, and a bit of field farming. We started back in 2018, basically as a joke, whereby you are trying to find some financing for another company. We thought since we had land back home, it would be an easy way of generating some income for the business. But then along the way, we started seeing the validity in the business. It became more promising as we went by, and that's when I started putting in a bit more effort into it. And we initially started with one greenhouse. We essentially named these greenhouses. The first greenhouse we started with was called Victoria. It was a small greenhouse, 8 by 15, and we started by planting tomatoes inside. Somehow along the way, there are a few challenges, and we ended up trying to restart over and over as the seasons started out well, and then along the way we had a few challenges here and there. But as time went by, we essentially got the hang of tomato farming, and personally I got the passion and motivation to keep at it, upon which we ended up introducing more greenhouses along the way. We first started by a smaller greenhouse, 8 by 15, and then afterwards we got to introduce another one slightly bigger. It was 17 by 30, and then afterwards we just continued increasing the number of greenhouses because we saw the validity in this type of business. Way back then, when we were trying out tomato farming, we started by planting these tomatoes on the ground. It was before we actually realized that there are soil-borne diseases that can actually affect your crops. So we planted the first season. There was a slight introduction of a particular soil-borne disease called Fusarium wilt, and another one called bacterial wilt. So once we started doing consecutive seasons, this particular soil-borne disease began increasing in spread, whereby you'd find the first season around, we found like around 5 plants affected by Fusarium wilt. This is when you'd find a whole plant just wilts. It's like it's devoid of water. So we did a soil test afterwards, and we got a report that it was actually fusarium and bacterial wilt. And the recommendations that we got at first were we were supposed to do a bit of like soil treatment, improve the soil immunity. But then even with that, we realized that the impact wasn't exactly what we needed. That's why we decided to sort in other ways of actually doing it a bit better that would help us reduce the losses that you're incurring. That's when we got introduced to planting in grow bags. We first actually started with planting in gunias, whereby we'd cut two gunias, we'd cut a whole gunia, and then we'd sow on the other end, and then we'd plant two plants in one bag. And then we realized that there are actually people out there who actually sell the proper right size of grow bags to plant tomatoes. So we moved to that, and we ended up finding out that they're actually quite efficient and would help control the soil-borne disease on top of at least other control measures. So the grow bags really helped us, and along the same time is when I actually got introduced to Growpact Kenya. The reason that was such a good combination of like at least the control measure for the soil-borne disease and actually getting the seedlings from another source that's not our own propagation, it made it easier for us to actually plant and at least in cases whereby you'd find issues with the bags, it would help us just easily get more seedlings to replace the ones that were spoiled. And then so I like what I can say about Growpact is I started my journey with them I think around 2.5 years ago, and I think one of the biggest take homes from them is that they've really helped my business save a lot of time. They've really helped my business be more efficient in that. Firstly, I don't get to worry about the whole process of propagation. I think when we are focusing of like when you're focusing on your main objectives, you tend to at least look at your core business, and then the things that are not necessarily a core business, it's way easier to outsource instead of trying to put a lot of focus on that. So for us, I can say when we got introduced to Growpact, we found it easier to actually rely on them for seed propagation. I've gone to Growpact a few times, and I can say I wouldn't have dreamed of ever propagating the seeds myself at the level they are propagating. For example, in the germination percentages, personally, when I actually tried out propagating myself at the earlier years, I'd find at best I was doing around 80% germination rates, and then like the 20% for a small farmer was I think a bit of a loss. So Growpact and the efficiency, and even like on top of just the germination percentage, the fact that I would get to um, get the exact number of seedlings that I needed for my farm. Let's say for one of my greenhouses, I needed tomato seedlings to cover around we needed around 1,000 stems. Once I ordered those 1,000 stems from Growpact, that's exactly what I would essentially get. So that improved the efficiency of like my own production. It improved the efficiency of my own timelines, because all I needed to do was just prepare my land and then give Growpact a call, and I'd get my seedlings at the preferred time. If you're a farmer, whether you're starting out or you have progressed in your farming journey a bit longer, what you need to understand is that the core business of farming usually stops essentially at the market. So it means if you're trying to produce, that's your main business. Propagation is something you can easily outsource, because it will really help you in as far as maybe avoiding the losses you incur during maybe germination. It will improve your efficiency in as far as timelines go. If you want to grow immediately, if you want to grow at a particular time, it's as easy as just placing an order at Growpact, and you'll get your seedlings of good quality, of like seedlings that are actually very vibrant. And if you go about it that way, it will essentially, you'll just see the results. In as far as those timelines are concerned, in as far as the quality of the seedlings, which essentially improve the quality of production, mainly because you end up having very vibrant plants. Basically, Growpact Kenya, they produce quality seedlings, they produce prompt seedlings. I know that's usually not such a big factor for a lot of farmers, but when you try it out, you'd realize how efficient it will be for your own business. So the potential of a greenhouse like this, it's a greenhouse of a size of around 17 by 30, 17 meters width and 30 meters in length. It has the capacity of accommodating around 2,000 plants, or maybe around 21, 22, if you structure the greenhouse well, or if you arrange the bags well. And the cost of production for a greenhouse like this, I can say on a monthly basis, can be around, let's say 50 to around 60,000. And in as far as capacity goes, when you're trying to, when you start harvesting for a duration of, I think, around a week, you can harvest upwards of around 500 all the way to 1,000 kgs, depending on how well your season went. And I can say for that capacity, you can find, let's say the prices are ranging from between 150 to 200 shillings. And from that, basically, if you're working with around 500 kgs, that would mean you'd be taking home around 75,000 Kenyan shillings on a weekly basis. So I can say it's not such a bad investment to make. If you're focused and you're planned well as per the seasons, you can harvest quite well, because the colored capsicum are actually quite productive.